Hey guys, so today's video is a collaboration with the wonderful Minsooky and StephanieNadia, and we decided to do all different nymph looks. So Minsooky is the underworld nymph, I'm representing the earthy woodland nymph, and then Stephanie is the celestial nymph. So please be sure to check out their videos. I will leave all their information down below in the description, so please check them out, and let's get into the tutorial. To start out, I'm using the Kat Von D High Voltage Eye Primer to prime my entire eyelid up to my brow as well as underneath my eye. I'm then going in with the Kat Von D Lock-It Tattoo Concealer in the shade Medium 22, and I'm using a bigger concealer brush to apply this all over my face, and I'm using the brush as well as my fingers to help blend it out. On any blemishes, I'm applying another layer of this and blending that out just with my fingers, and I'm also blending this back onto my ears and down onto my neck. To contour, I'm using the NYX HD blush in the shade Taupe, and I'm applying this with a small angled blush brush just along the bottom of my cheekbones, and I'm going to blend that both up and down to really soften it up. I'm following that up with a blush and a highlight, and the blush I'm using is another HD blush in the shade Intuition. I'm blending that right above that contour and blending onto the apples of my cheeks, and for the highlight, I'm using the NYX Illuminator in the shade Ritualistic, and I'm applying this to the top of my cheekbones as well as down the bridge of my nose and up onto my forehead just to give myself a nice soft glow. And then I'm also applying my contour along the bottom of my jawline under my chin and then blending it down onto my neck just very lightly. You can keep this look, or we'll be adding some copper and red eyeshadow to it later. So now we're going to create this curve that I have under the brow, and it's starting towards the inner part of my brow and curving down following my brow bone, and then I'm just winging it out slightly at the end. For the eyeshadow, I'm starting out with the NYX Hot Single in the shade Zen, which happens to match my background, and I'm applying this to just the very base of my lid. And then I forgot that I first wanted to apply this nice transition shade, which is the Nude Matte Shadow in the shade Blame It on Midnight, and I'm just taking that on a really fluffy brush, and I'm sweeping that into the crease area, blending out past the outer corner following that line we made earlier, and then down into the nose contour. There we go. Alright, so I'm going back in with Zen now and just applying that to the base of my lid up to the crease and just very softly blending that out. The next shade we have is another hot single, and this one is in the shade Hypnotized. It's kind of a coppery gold color, and I'm applying this just under that brown line, and I'm blending that down toward and into the green. And then we have another hot single, this one in the shade Showgirl, and it's a kind of coppery, brick red, shimmery shade that I really like. I'm such a sucker for these coppery fall colors. Anyway, so I'm just applying that to the inner third of my lid up to my brow, and I'm blending that down over the nose contour, and then I'm blending that out with my fingers just to really soften it up. I'm now going back in and redefining that brown curve, and then we're going to blend right under that with a brown eyeshadow, and this one is Shadowbox from the Kat Von D Monarch palette. So I'm taking that on my Sigma E36 and just blending that out underneath that brown curve, softly into those other eyeshadows. I like to curl my lashes before doing my tight line, and this time I'm using the NYX Slide On Liner in the shade Jet Black, and then for my lower waterline I'm using that same liner but in the shade Brown Perfection, and I'm using my finger to smudge that out just a little bit. I'm then going back in with that Hypnotized Hot Single and applying that just along the lower lash line and also blending it up into that brown eyeshadow and down onto my cheekbone. Then on top of where we applied that Zen green eyeshadow before, I'm applying the NYX Prismatic shadow in the shade Jaded and blending that out into the other shadows. I then apparently got distracted by my eyebrow, so I started filling that in, and I'm using the Anastasia Dipbrow in the shade Ebony, and I'm defining the arch as I normally would. Alright, so back to the eyes, I'm using another hot single, and this one is in the shade Kush, and I'm applying this with a small smudge brush along the lower lash line, and again I'm going to blend that out a little bit with my finger. Back to the brow, I'm just continuing to fill that in, and I'm leaving the very inner part of my brow not free of product, but I'm applying just a very little product there, so it's a little tiny bit lighter than the rest of my brow, and then I'm applying a clear brow gel over top of that. Then to finish off the eyes, I'm applying just a couple coats of black mascara to top and bottom lashes, and then applying a fairly natural pair of false lashes to the top lash line only. And while I'm waiting for the glue to get tacky, I like to work them in a little bit just to help them keep their shape, and then I'm placing it where I want it at the inner corner and then placing it down on the rest of my eye so that I know it's going to be lined up. So now we're going to move on to the design I have on the side of my face, and I'm using the NYX brown liquid liner for this, and everything is going to be originating from that curve that we made very first thing. So most of this is going to be sped up, but I'm doing a lot of dotting designs as well as wings out and swirls, and I'm just kind of following the natural shape and flow of my face. I think one thing that's going to help you guys will be to make bigger swirls so that you can create those wings off of them and the dotting designs around them, and you can create smaller swirls off of those bigger swirls. So I hope that that's a little bit helpful, and really just have fun with it. I had no plans whatsoever going into this, and I just kind of let my hand flow around my face, and this is what happens. So just have fun with it, but you can't always make a design or do a practice run if you're going to be wearing this out to Halloween or an event. Once I'm happy with my design and everything is totally dry, I'm going back over everything with the red and coppery gold eyeshadows just a little bit. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but after I do that, I'm gonna go in and re-darken a few of those brown lines. And then I couldn't decide if I wanted a nude lip or a dark lip for this, but I ended up going with the Jeffree Star Cosmetics liquid lipstick in the shade Unicorn Blood. I first apply this to the center of my lips and then press them together, and then I'll just work my way down from the corners of my mouth to meet that centerpiece so everything's nice and lined up, and then I'll go in and define the Cupid's bow and do the same thing on the top. Alright guys, so that's going to complete this look. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for tons of videos this Halloween season. And please don't forget to check out Minsooky and StephanieNadia. Remember, all their info will be down in the description. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.